Hello, y'all. I am on my walk, and this subject is going to be about something that narcissists refuse to acknowledge, accept, potentially not even notice it, or just kind of like fight against it, right? And as a disclaimer, this video is not to make anyone feel like that they're a bad person because they don't have a religion. This video is also not to make you feel like you're a bad person because you don't believe in a higher power. Everyone has a right to their preference. However, this is just something that I've noticed over the years with narcissists, right? And just getting to know them and a lot of times knowing their background, right? So, what happens is with many of them, whether it be the male or the female narcissist, early in life, they end up getting with, marrying, or partnering up with someone that is a believer, right? And of course, the narcissist or a sociopath or a psychopath is going to work against that, right? So, say hypothetically, the narcissist, whether they be male or female, they get married and their spouse is a believer. So, they're in some sort of religious organization, right? The narcissist won't participate in it. So, as a result, they end up divorced or things don't work out in that relationship, right? So, it ends. The relationship is not blessed. Then they get with a couple of people or a few people there and they're not religious, right? Those relationships don't work. Then later in life, they end up in another situation where they come across another religious person, right? And that relationship, I mean, it could start out sinful in fornication or whatever, what the Bible would be considered sinful, which would be fornication. And I'm saying that to mean if you laying up with your man or woman listening to this video, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm just pointing out the biblical outline, okay? So this narcissist wants to consistently do what they want to do. Now, if you are even empathic, right? And a lot of believers come across your way and you're fighting against that, that's no coincidence. In my opinion, it's not a coincidence because the Lord wants you to get more involved and maybe create a better relationship on a spiritual foundation. But narcissists will end up alone because they will continue to rebel against those relationships. And it's funny because, and it's ironic, not just funny. I notice that a lot of narcissists, they be getting some good-hearted believers that come across their way, right? But they rebel and they refuse to go in that direction. Now, these are the benefits of going in that direction. If the narcissists were willing to do it, they could maybe get rid of their addictions, alcohol, drugs, things of that nature, pornography, money addictions, gambling, maybe even be less abusive, verbally and physically. Who knows what will happen if you give your life to the Lord, right? Maybe they will feel remorse and want to build a better relationship with their children. But this is something that I noticed, right? And there's a particular narcissistic man, and I'm going to say narcissistic because there is some level of empathy within this man, right? However, as this gentleman reaches out to get closer to individuals, he's being rejected, right? But the bottom line is, one particular lady that's coming across his path at the end of his aging years is a spiritual woman. And this particular woman is obeying the word biblically as far as not fornicating and things like that. However, if I look at the beginning of this gentleman's journey, right, it began the same way with his first wife. She was a religious woman. He didn't go that way. And so in turn, the marriage didn't work out, right? So this is another thing narcissists refuse to accept as their journey goes on throughout their life, right? Especially somatic narcissists, narcissists that depend and rely a lot on their physical appearance. And a lot of them won't continue to take care of themselves, right? So that only goes so far, whether it be the male or female. What else do they have going for them? Okay, so they run off the people that like to take walks, like to read a book, like to study, like to be involved in spiritual activities, like to be creative, like to work out, like to be family oriented, right? And so this is just something I notice about these narcissists that I've noticed throughout the years. And pay attention to this. When you meet these narcissists or the narcissists that you've already known, even if they're just at a minimum narcissistic, and if they're just narcissistic, they're not high enough on the spectrum to be diagnosed with someone with NPD, right? So they have low levels of empathy, right? If they're just narcissistic. And they can feel remorse if they're just narcissistic. So that's just something I've always paid attention to, is how they lose out because they refuse to implement spirituality. I mean, I would get it, if I kept coming across a gentleman, and every time a gentleman came across my path, he was a believer, and I was not that way, I would say, well, maybe the Lord wants me to go in this direction. I knew to go in that direction even though somebody was narcissistic and didn't want to go in that direction with me. I knew to go in that direction even if the man was a sociopath. However, narcissists won't get this. They won't grasp this. And so they will end up empty and a lot of them lonely because that's all that comes by their way that they're really seriously attracted to. Now, they could get anybody they want in some instances, right? Temporarily, couple of months, maybe a year. But a lot of times, the person that they really want is a believer. But the narcissist doesn't want to better their standards, not just for the other person, but for themselves, right? So if you're not involved in any kind of spiritual activities and you better that, that's bettering yourself and the other person. But they will refuse to up until the day they leave this earth. And so they end up in turn, over and over again, this cycle happens. Because keep this in mind, in the beginning years, that young person, if they marry young, okay, just say between the ages of 18 and 27 years old, right? When they marry young, that believer is still going to marry that narcissist. Okay. And the marriage may last 15, 20, 25 years. Okay. And that's because that unbeliever or the believer, I take that back, not the unbeliever, the believer that marries that narcissist thinks they can change the narcissist. And they're marrying out of pure love because that believer is most likely empathetic, right? But when that marriage ends, the narcissist later in life, because by this time they're middle aged, and so of course they're going to engage in those off balance, corrupt relationships. But then at the end of their life, they're going to come across another believer. And so this is something that this narcissist has always rebelled against, spirituality. And what happens is they're at the end of their life, middle-aged to older, and the narcissist, whether they be male or female, they become unattractive to people like us. Okay? Because at the end of the day, for a lot of us, as we grow older, you have more of an understanding. I'm sorry, y'all. You hear that airplane? I am so sorry, y'all. Let me see if we can see it up here. Hold on. I got this coming across here right now. See that plane, y'all? You maybe can see the lights a little bit. I apologize. But that's one of the things I like about taking walks this time of morning or night or whatever you want to call it. I mean, technically it's dark out, but I think it's technically like morning hours, right? So, yeah, that's basically how it works. And like I said, as a disclaimer, this is not to make anyone become more spiritual, because if that's not a choice that you want to make, then that's on you, right? But narcissists, they get these great spiritual people in their lives, right? And they refuse to grasp the concept that, hey, maybe this is what the Lord wants me to do. Maybe this is the direction I should go in to heal my addiction issues, whether it be whatever they're addicted to. I named some of the things earlier that they could be addicted to, right? And so this is a cycle that they go through, right? And at the end of the day, when you get in your middle-aged years, you just got to have a little bit more going for yourself, like a personality and some morals. And because they refuse to take on the behaviors, because remember, they're good at copycatting bad stuff, but they won't copycat some of the good things that the believers are presenting to them. So the narcissist is going to constantly look over and neglect the person that's inviting them to the house of prayer, but they will keep notice of the person that is inviting them to the club that's really off track. Not to say everybody that's at the club is off track. You know what I'm talking about. It's a certain type of individual at the club that is off track. For one, somebody that can't stay out of the club, okay? You got to have balance with anything, like do everything in moderation. Some things we shouldn't be doing at all, but I'm just saying, you know what I'm talking about, because I don't want to be offending somebody that goes to the club every blue moon, because there's so many different type of clubs. I mean, you got clubs where they have good comedy shows, they're upper end clubs, and they're places where married people and people with significant others go hang out and have a good time. People have birthday gatherings there, things like that. So this is what the narcissist is going to struggle with, is not coming to grips that it's no accident that all of these people that love the Lord keep coming across their path from the beginning to the end. But that narcissist will reject two things: those people and spirituality. And in turn, the ultimate spirit that they're rejecting is the Lord that controls heaven. And that's just how I feel. And it's something that I've noticed, that I've thought of. And it's something that in time and over time is a turnoff to me, because it's a turnoff when people can't grasp more. I mean, for me to do these videos, yeah, I observe things, but what I also take a hold of is my own spirituality, my spiritual life. And that's why I believe I have subscribers now, because you can feel that through my spirit. You can feel that through my energy. And it's something that's very important, whether you're going to build a relationship, a YouTube channel, a better relationship with your children, creating more trusting bonds amongst each other, being able to help others. Spirituality is something that's very, very important. But like I said, whether that narcissist be male or female, they're going to reject it in spite of these spiritual people keep coming their way. And sometimes, if I ever had an envy of a narcissist, it would be of all the good people that come across their way that they screw over. Because for a lot of people that are empathic, we seem to get the bad litter of the bunch. The bad people come our way, for a while anyway, okay? But the narcissists, if you ever notice, they get some of the best people. They screw over people that you wish you could have attracted, and you're empathic. So you be like, man, they're ungrateful. Dang, they're ungrateful. Oh, woman, they're ungrateful. Whatever, whichever way you want to say it, you just feel like these are some ungrateful people. For real. And they are, because they won't take a hold. Because a lot of the times, the people that the narcissist would attract, if you attracted that person that they attracted, which was that spiritual person, you would have been married to death do you part to one person. But the Lord just keeps giving that narcissist a chance, and they just won't take heed to it. And when you see those patterns, especially when you meet men or women, and they've already screwed over their spouses in their first marriages, and those were very spiritual people that were doing right by that narcissist, they're never going to treat anybody else any better. So pay attention when you know that they were married. When you know that these narcissists were married to praying people, praying men and women, back off from that narcissist. They ain't got nothing for you. Because if they will treat a praying man or woman that way, whether you be a praying man or woman or you not be one, they not going to have no good for you either. So it's just a complete waste of time. The narcissist is never going to understand that that's something that they need. Even if they, in the back of their mind, feel that they need it, they're not going to do what it takes to make it happen. Even if deep inside their soul, they know, well, maybe I should give my life to the Lord. They're not going to do it. So you're just wasting your time. And you're just going to be super bored with these people. Because in my opinion, fun relationships or relationships where you can pray together. Okay, that is truly at the end of the day what's going to bond you together, because all that other stuff, y'all, is going to go away. And you're going to find a big missing piece in your relationship, and you're not going to know what it is. And that's going to be the missing piece. You're not with someone that you can consistently pray with. Okay. So, anyway, I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. And again, this message was not to offend anyone, but just pay attention to the narcissists around you. And think about all the religious and spiritual people that came across their way that they just continuously rejected and just didn't do right by. Okay. Anyway, I love y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Let me see. I got 20 minutes on my walk, almost 21 minutes, y'all. Thank you.